All right, Shalawam. First and foremost, I want to come off and start to say Shalawam, call Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kudash, Barakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahushai, Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahushai, Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahushai. Hey, I'm Yaquan from YSO, Yahushai Sanctified Ones. I'm coming to you with this quick video. Hey, Satan can't stand, man. Amalek is falling, really because Amalek is the chief house of Satan, so he's the head of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, and he's fighting within himself, within his own people. They're fighting against themselves. They're canceling each other out, and that's through the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shai. So the water Yahweh Shemal Shai for showing the signs of the fall of Esau, Edom, man, right? And that falls is heavy because we've been waiting for a long time since after the Dark Ages, since after the fall of Constantinople, right? These Edomites has been coming into power, has been into power. The fall of what's today present Turkey, right? Istanbul, Turkey, used to be Constantinople. Okay, when Jake was ruling, it was Constantine. He was a so-called black man. Okay, what you today would call a Negro in America, right? He was he was an Israelite. Okay, he was wicked, but he still was our people. So when the fall of the Dark Ages came, who came up into power? Esau, Edom was coming into power. Now, yeah, with Jake still in power, yeah, we were still being pulled out of power, up into the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s. We still had us in certain places, but by the 1900s, we were primarily done. We were primarily done. We were primarily pulled out. With minus a few. We were being put in slavery. You go back and read about Oliver Cromwell, what he did to our people out there in fucking in Scotland and Ireland. You read the shit that he did, the devastation that he caused, during that time. So, but since the Dark Ages, after the Dark Ages, what you call the Dark Ages, which is the medieval times, Esau has been coming up into rulership and has primarily been jumped back into rulership. Okay, so but this devil is finally falling, right? He's finally coming, and it's the beautiful thing to see it when you see it. These devils fighting one another, right? They like they say, the black on black crime, man. This Edomite on Edomite crime, right? And it's happening, right? Fully in your face. They're fighting each other, and it's a beautiful thing. All right, so look, I'm gonna play this video, and then I'm gonna throw a quick scripture up, and then I'm gonna close out.
Forces have raided the headquarters of the United Nations aid agency UNRWA in occupied East Jerusalem in the West Bank, seizing items and replacing the United Nations flag with the Israeli flag. And this move has now drawn some strong condemnation from the United Nations and others, while UNRWA chief Philippe Lazzarini has called it the unlawful seizure of the agency's property by the Israelis. Now, the Israeli police, accompanied by municipal officials, entered into the compound that is used by the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for the Palestinian refugees. And according to the agency, police motorcycles and also trucks and forklifts were brought into the premises by the Israelis. All communications were cut. Furniture, IT equipment and other property was all seized. And the United Nations flag was pulled down forcibly. And instead, an Israeli flag was set up on what is effectively United.
See them devils, man. They went in and they on their own people. United Nations is so-called Europe, which is Asia, which we all know that whole area is Asia. But hey, because Elder Malcolm will be on it, man. Elder Malcolm will be on that. What you call Europe is fucking Asia, okay? So that's a beautiful thing. But so Asia has, they're in a fight with their own people. Right here, they're tearing down the UN flag, the United Nations, and the United Nations back their bullshit. You know, they're all a part. The UN, that's that conglomerate. That's their that's their coalition. You know, you go to Psalms 83rd chapter, right? He is confederate against thee, and that's a part of them. They hold up their lies and their falsehoods. They're a part of that reason that the Balfour Declaration can continue, right? Because they under the disguise of deceit and lies. But they're stronghold in their own people. They're destroying their own system, uh, uh their own treaties. But you understand it because it's what Esau is. Because when you go back to every treaty that this devil's made with anybody, and evidently it's with his own people. Because when you go back to what he did to Gad and Reuben here in the Americas, man, he ripped ripped almost every treaty up. You know, we talk about it time and time again, but like you can't find a Gadite in America. You got to in the lower states of America, you got to go over out west. You know, you got to go to like Omaha and, well, not even fucking Omaha. Shit, you got to go over up even deeper. You got to go up into fucking Montana. You got to go up into Washington, Tacoma. You know, you got to go up in that area, South Dakota and shit, North Dakota. You know, you got to go over Oregon and, you know, you got to go way the fuck up and out there, okay, to find Gad, man. You know, because when we was trucking, you know, we found Gad. That's when we found Gad. That's the one place we found. I don't see any, very rarely have I seen any so-called Native Americans, right? But when in order to find them, you got to go far out just to even get a whiff of them, you know, to even know that they're even there, that they still exist. You know, you got to really go search them out. And if you're gonna search them out, you got to go deep out west in the mountains, and you know, and you got and you'll see, you know, when you come up out of Montana and all those places, you'll start seeing Gad, you know, moving around when you start to get deeper out west. Okay, going towards the west. Yeah, it's a fucking crying shame, but this is what the devil is. So he can't even keep the peace with his own people. So how much less he gonna be able to keep it with the rest of the nations, right? Look at the world. The earth is in a fucking turmoil, you know. Just on a quick side note, Russia just dropped like 700 and something fucking drones and missiles on Kiev. Okay, they rocking, man, and that's their own people. Hey, and Russia is. And a side note, another thing. This go back into the scripture I'm about to bring out. Is those are Russian peoples, okay? They were the old Soviet Union. Ukraine is Russia. It was the old Soviet Union. Okay, this is things that people have to understand that Esau has divided his own people, right? To divide and conquer his own self, right? You know, Esau Edom is biting off his own arm, his legs, right? He's and then he's going to eventually bite off they're going to eventually bite off their own necks. They're collapsing their own people in their own system. They're killing their people, right? So, you know, hey, and that's a blessing from the Lord. So call Lord Yahweh Shemal Shai, because everything, all this wickedness that this devil is doing, and all the curses that was put upon Israel is being put back upon our enemy. You know, let me finish this. Let this video play, because I'm gonna have to close out.
Nation's property. Listen.
In reaction to this event, I can tell you that the Secretary General strongly condemns the unauthorized entry into the United Nations Sheikh Jarrah compound held by UNRWA, located in occupied East Jerusalem by Israeli authorities. Recently confirmed by the International Court of Justice, any executive, administrative, judicial, or legislative action against United Nations property and assets is prohibited by the Convention on Privileges and Immunities of the United Nations.
The Israeli police claims that this raid on the United Nations compound was part of a debt collection effort over unpaid municipal taxes that totaled up to $3.4 million. However, UNRWA and the United Nations reject this claim, citing the 1946 Convention on the Privileges and the Immunities of the United Nations, which exempts the United Nations and its assets from taxation by host nations.
according to Israel, Ottawa owned about 3.5 million US dollars in unpaid tax and interest. Is that theory accepted by the
No.
UN?
It is not applicable under the general conventions that cover the relationship between the United Nations and member states.
So which means this is actually a violation of international law.
That would be a correct interpretation by you.
The reports are also emerging of the escalating violence in the West Bank, with the Israeli forces having killed.
So that's it. Hey, it's a violation of their international law. They're violating the fucking UN that they agreed upon. That's their people. And they went into this covenant with them, Psalms 83rd chapter, and they're violating their laws, man. They went in and raped down, they dragged down their flag and put up the Israeli flag, letting them know that Amalek is over all of them, and Amalek can do what the fuck he want. But Amalek is going to be stopped. He's being stopped. He's still causing damage in fucking in Gaza. You know, this devil won't stop. He won't quit. He's going to keep trying to kill, steal, and destroy, right? So, and he's doing it to his own people. But let me pull the scripture right quick, because I gotta pull this scripture, because I gotta get ready to get out of here. This is Matthew chapter 12 and 26. This is Matthew 12 and 26 and 25. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And these devils are divided against themselves. They are not going to stand. Even here in the Babylon, they can't get along. That's why you got the Democrats and the Republicans. They fighting against each other now, fighting against Trump, fighting against their leader. They're fighting against their head, trying to conquer him. He's trying to conquer them. They're trying to pull each other down, right? This all is infighting. So their system is going to fall and collapse underneath their feet. And if Satan casts out Satan, that's what they are, right? Satan is casting out Satan. Because here you got one devil telling the other devil, we don't want you here. You owe us $3 million. They like, fuck you. We don't owe you shit, you dumb fuck. You made the covenant with us that we don't pay taxes, you dumb fuck. Oh, fuck you. We want our money. You know what I'm saying? Fuck the agreement. You know, like Satan does, right? He make an agreement with you, then he turn around and throw that shit back in your face and say, fuck you, eat it, and give me my fucking shit. So he said, okay, cool. We'll raid your shit. We'll take everything out of it. We'll steal it, sell it, do whatever the fuck we want with it. And now, fuck you. What are you going to do? You ain't going to go to war with us. So fuck you. You know? And that's just what it is. So now you got animosity between each other. So then they end up turning on each other. Now they make slick back deals on each other. So this devil is fucking finished, man. His kingdom is dying. Okay? Now they'll make peace with their enemies. So now they'll work with their enemies. Now they'll work with like Trump is doing, work with the fucking Al Qaeda. And then you look up, they be fucking around trying to find a way, the Taliban or whatever the fuck, they'll fucking try to find a way to fight against the Israelis through a proxy war. They'll use other factions to fight back. You know, they be doing this infighting on the backside. Okay? And if Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? And if by Beelzebub cast out devils, by whom do your children cast them out? Therefore they shall be your judges. But if I cast out devils by the spirit of Yahweh, by the spirit of Yahweh, then the kingdom of Yahweh is come unto you. Or else how can one enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. And the strong man is being bounded. They're doing it to each other. They're fucking binding each other up. They're making each other bend to each other's will, and they're trying to crack down on their own selves. Okay, they're biting off their own limbs. You know, he that is not with me is against. He that is not with me is against me, and he that gathereth not with me scattereth abroad. So look, you know, I just want to bring that quick scripture out. You know, I just want to bring that out, man, because, you know, as you see these devils, man, they fighting against themselves. You know, they're biting off their own arms, their own legs, their own feet and toes. They're crippling themselves, and to a point to where they're just going to fucking collapse, and they're not going to be able to stand no longer. You know, and this is all through the will and power of Yahweh Shema Shah. So, you know, throughout the Yahweh Shema Shah, for showing that these devils are coming down and falling. You know, and with that said, I'm Yaquan from YSO, Yahweh Shai 85 ones, Shalawam, and a Baba Ball.